kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Welcome in, everybody, to Saturday night action here on Sim Racing Media. Tonight, the drivers of the ECR NextGen League take on Chicagoland for the Windy City 225 as they get set to go. We take a quick look back at last week. Tristan Bailey able to bring home the victory, leading 93 laps and putting on a clinic last week. Dwayne Furtick in second after qualifying on the pole, and Tyler Burden back there in third. The top three wound up finishing the top three, so that is where they start, or in last week, and we'll see where they start this week. They're just about a minute and a half left of qualifying before we get started, but I'm Mike Demoney in the booth as usual, joined with me Shane Cochran. Shane, man, how's it going?
Going great. I'm excited to see some racing here at Chicagoland, home of the infamous slide job. I'm sure we'll see some really good slide jobs and passes tonight on this track. Just excited to see the boys get out on the track tonight.
Yeah, definitely trying to see what they can do. Like we got a field of 18 drivers set to take part. Like Andrew Chapman's going to be starting on the pole. Hasn't seen him up front in quite a little while. Looks like he's kind of been mired back in traffic a little bit after having a couple of penalties that he had to serve back there. Tristan Bailey is going to start on the outside of row 1. And then the usual suspects back there as well. So it's going to be a tight group of guys from the start. I mean, of the 16 drivers, it's basically a half second separating all of them on qualifying speed. So we know this is going to be a good race tonight.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks. There's a lot of racing lines in the corner, but they all kind of break even on lap times. And so, kind of no matter what your style is as a driver, not going to expect a lot of kind of differential lap times here. I think everyone will be mostly playing that 1.5-mile strategy. You want clean air when you can get it. You got a draft on the front and back stretch to stay in touch with whoever you're working on the back bumper of. And in the end, it's going to be fuel, tires, clean air, kind of everything all swirled into one here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those types of races as the drivers get ready to get into their cars. We do have the Eliminator Challenge. We kind of were talking about it before. It seems like every time the race comes up, there's somebody that winds up taking a provisional that's still in, and that tonight is going to be Ryan McCall. Ryan McCall taking the provisional, so he is going to be eliminated this week. So no real rush for anybody to panic about racing here, but it will get tighter as the rest of the drivers are the usual suspects that show up every week, and I'd imagine we're going to see it boil down to a couple of them fairly quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the drivers left there, Furtick, Bailey, Burden, Boughton, Kane, Lee, McCall, and Denise. I mean, we're kind of getting down to it here, but as you mentioned, McCall out. A couple other drivers out tonight. I think Osborne not going to be able to make it. He's reporting a power outage down in around Canton, Georgia. Sounds like some nasty storms ripped through there, so we're going to wish everyone there a safe Saturday night. Hope everyone's doing all right down there, even with the power out. Stay safe, and we'll hope to see Osborne back next week.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody needs to stay safe with all these storms that kind of pop up here and there, but we get set to take on this 1.5-mile track. Andrew Chapman, Tristan Bailey, like I said, going to start on row 1. Row 2, Dwayne Furtick and Colin Bollinger. Tyler Burden and Adam Boughton back there in row 3. Row 4, Michael York alongside Kent Mueller. Bradley Rivers making a return after being out a couple weeks. Doug Denise to his outside. Jonathan Cogswell, Anthony Ludi in row 6. Row 7. Row 7 is going to be Kyle Diaz and Aaron Miller. Kane Lee and Michael Carter make up the last of the drivers that qualified. Christopher Roth and Pete Walsh are going to start 17th and 18th. But it really doesn't matter where you start here tonight. It's going to be more of a matter where you're going to finish and how you can work through traffic. Like you said, clean air is going to be king tonight.
Yeah, as I'm looking through this field, we got Chapman up front. He's won a race already this season, but it was at Talladega, so I'll have to see what he's got here for the 1.5 miles. But when I look through the drivers who haven't won yet this season, Adam Boughton is the guy I've got my eye on tonight. You know, he's 5th in points. He's up there with all these other drivers who have multiple wins on the season. This just kind of feels like the time where he needs to stamp that win and say, hey, I'm here as a contender, not just as a, following these guys around. So I'll be curious to see what Adam can get done here at Chicagoland tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Pace car makes that left-hand turn down pit lane. We are green flag racing. Andrew Chapman down and away, but Tristan Bailey stuck tight right to his outside, headed off into turn number 1.
Yeah, those two rapid-fire pizza paint schemes looking good. Running 1-2 here in lap 1. Bailey going to tuck in behind Chapman. Furtick, Bollinger, and Burden going to follow him in there. That is your top 5.
Yeah, and as you said, several different lines through the corners. You see Furtick go middle and Bollinger go up to the high side. You'll see that 53 machine float up just a little bit. He's also got the 94 up there as well.
Yeah, I would expect the preferred line is going to be, probably a lane different than whatever the guy in front of you is doing. So you can kind of maintain speed, but also get some air on the nose to save those front tires. As Bailey is looking down low on Chapman.
Yeah, it looked like Chapman might have misjudged the corner just a little bit, floated up. Tristan Bailey hopped in and took advantage of that 9 machine. Colin Bollinger, fastest man on the track with a 30.49 last time by. Tyler Burton trying to take the low way and shortest line around the track almost. Staying right down on that white line. Everybody trying to find a place here. Fountain goes to the high side, gonna try and take away P3, and it looks like he'll be able to do that. Michael York also up there on that high side by side with the 53 of Colin Bollinger. Bollinger was running that high line. Now he's down on the bottom, and it doesn't seem to have as much speed as he had earlier. Dwayne Furtick running down on the bottom as Burden moves up to the high side.
It sure seems like the high side has all the momentum here early in this run, just 6 laps in. I'm not sure one line uses the tires harder than the other. It's kind of how easy you can be on the throttle in either line. But right here, we've got some good side-by-side action in this battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th. You can see some drivers already utilizing that apron and on the front stretch. It's shorter around, but it just kind of seems like the effort you have to do into turning down there kind of upsets the car and kills some speed.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that. The drivers who have went down there don't really gain a whole lot as that outside line seems to have more momentum coming through the front stretch. We'll see if they do it. Yeah, they stayed up on the racing surface this time, but Dwayne Furtick still lost a little bit of time there to Tyler Burton. We didn't really talk about pit strategy or anything, but I believe a fuel run is going to be somewhere just south of 50 laps. So looking at least 3, 2 pit stops, probably 3 depending on, especially if the tires start to wear out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ECR practice notes. They've got it 38 to 43 laps. So we'll kind of call it 40 just for doing the math. That is going to be a 3-stop race. But if you know it's a 3-stop race, then I'm thinking you might want to stop maybe like 35 laps or so. 36 laps would be kind of splitting it even.
Yeah, I imagine the first stint you're going to go closer to that 40, probably almost as far as you can go in the first stint. Then kind of decide where you want to be on that second stint, setting up that final run. Bradley Rivers making his return after being out a couple weeks. Up one spot, running P8.
Yeah, we just heard Chapman come on the radio, kind of give a disclaimer to the field that he's on a new internet service or a new router or something to that effect, and if he's blinking, he wants to know about it. But we haven't seen him have any issues yet tonight, so hopefully that stays that way.
And he just ran his best lap of the race with a 30.58, but faded back a few positions after starting on the pole, running P4 right now. But the drivers up front are definitely making those tires work. Michael York down to the inside, going to try and get by the 94 of Adam Bowden. Bowden goes to the high side of Tristan Bailey. Bailey under fire from all sides almost now.
Yeah, these two drivers are just kind of playing games with each other on where they're taking air off of each other's noses. But the 94 had been working that high line, but he's going to use the low line here. Try to get around Bailey. Not going to do it in that turn. You can see how that inside line just gets tight on exit. You have to lift to stay out of that car. And then they get the run off the high line.
It definitely seems like that high line, you just have a little bit more momentum. But if you're going to be able to make a pass, you're going to have to be able to make that and get down to the bottom as quick as possible.
Batten now going to have a great run. About a half lane higher than Bailey through the turn there. And you see it brings him right up to his bumper. And we're only 14 laps into this race, but this is essentially practice. When you get down to the end of it, you'd love to be this close to the leader. You're going to need to know what moves work and which ones don't.
Yeah, and looking at the last couple times they were here, back in 22, Adam Bowden did bring home the victory. And in 23, Bradley Rivers before Tay McDonald won last season's race. So definitely has the speed figured out here at Chicagoland. So we'll see what they can do.
Now both he and Michael York right behind him in the 5. They are both up 4 positions so far in the race. From where they started, just within reach of our leader. Tyler Burden going the other direction, though. He's lost 3 positions since the start of the race.
That biggest mover of the race is up just a couple spots in front of Burden. That's going to be Aaron Miller at Breyer's Ice Cream Machine. Battle just keeps getting tighter for the lead.
I've seen the 94 try going low, try going high. Here he kind of starts high, splits down to the middle, and then back out to the wall on exit. Trying to find a way around Bailey.
Yeah, and as we're watching this back here, look at these 3 guys going inside, outside, all over each other. Chapman, Rivers, and Burden.
Yeah, Aaron Miller up 9 positions so far today. He is on a mission.
You know, we've seen him start on the pole a couple times, but then he just gets bad luck after bad luck. Either involved in a wreck or a little miscue on pit lane. See if he can get that number 10 going. Right?
He's got 3 top 5s and 7 top 10s this season. He's kind of waiting for that luck to meet speed race to get him a victory. He's only led one lap this season, though. I'm sure he'd love to double, triple, or more that stat tonight.
I'm not sure what's going on with Wayne Furtick, but he is down 7 spots, running in P10 right now. I went the wrong way in a hurry, it seems like. Another guy who's down quite a few spots is going to be the number 8 of Kent Mueller, down 10 spots. But it looks like he's just hanging on at the tail end of the field, just trying to log some laps here.
Yeah, just kind of hanging out back there with Pete Walsh, Christopher Roth. I wouldn't say this is a drafting track per se, when compared to Talladega or Atlanta, but you certainly don't want to be by yourself. There's a lot of speed to be had on the straightaways tucked in behind somebody. It looks like we saw a little bit of contact there between Doug Denise and Kane Lee.
Doug Denise all over the track, inside, outside, trying to find a line he likes. Almost ran into the rear bumper there of Kane Lee and then turned down, and Cogswell had a pretty decent run, had to check up and wound up going back his position.
That's tight racing all the way from the front back to this one around 13. Michael Carter in the 18, another car moving forward.
Here we go, talking about moving forward again. Aaron Miller running P4 now.
Yeah, he has caught Boughton, who looks to have maybe used up his tires trying to get around Bailey, drop back to third. Now Miller and Rivers are battling for that 4th position, with Bollinger right in tow and Burden right behind him.
Now Bollinger going the wrong way too. He's down a couple spots after running towards the front. I mean, you gotta be thinking how long Aaron Miller can keep these tires under him if some of the other drivers are losing them, because he has been a man on a mission up 10 spots. So he's got to be using those tires a little bit more than everybody around him.
Well, let's watch his line here through the corner. He's just a little bit lower than everybody in front of him, it seems like. And that might be his secret to having some speed and saving those tires. Is top 4 now kind of compressing back together. Right there, he's a full lane lower than York and about a half lane lower than Bailey, and that keeps some clean air on his nose, but gives him the same speed as the other drivers running the high line. We get a great advertisement here for a 213simware.com off the rear bumper of Adam Boughton.
Yeah, he definitely gets a better run as Bollinger's into that outside wall, going to slow him down a little bit. Tyler Burden moves to the inside, going to try and make the pass, but Bollinger still didn't lose that much momentum.
Yeah, here Burden actually throwing an apology over the radio. I'm not sure if he got into Bollinger. We saw the 53 in the wall. I didn't see any contact, but those two drivers still on good terms. Burden looks to the outside.
I don't know that there was contact, but he definitely didn't leave him much room. But Bollinger's been running a little loose, getting into that outside wall the last couple laps, so it looks like he decided to pull down, let these guys go by, and maybe save it and try and make it to that pit window there.
Yeah, we're now 29 laps into this run. As we mentioned, we were expecting pit stops around lap 40. The tires have got to be starting to wear out. We're now almost a full second off fresh tire pace.
Oh, definitely. York gets a little loose. What's that? Back end start to slide just a little bit.
Really enjoying those shiny red rims on the 5 car. Just a little something different than all the black stock rims through most of the field. Makes that 5 car of Michael York really stand out. As they're 3 wide, almost. As we jump on board with Rivers, we're hearing some reports on the radio that the sun is right in the driver's eyes. We'll see what it's like as we're coming out of turn 2 down the backstretch, and there it is.
Now watch when they go to make this corner. Just a little bit.
Yeah, it just seems like it's more out of turn 2. Getting there's Rivers now inside of Aaron Miller. Still inside, or I guess he cleared Miller.
There you go.
But Miller's now coming with a run. So see more drivers just kind of tagging the wall. That's Michael York. Drivers using every inch of the racetrack here at Chicagoland to get that turn entry just how they like it. Burden looking inside the 94, trying to make his way up into that top 3.
Yeah, and speaking of that, looking back through the field, we have that 51 Chevy of Dwayne Furtick. He was back in 10th position. Now he's battling Bollinger and Miller, trying to get inside, just outside that top 5. So, I mean, he is on the move now. Maybe he saved a little bit of his tires at the beginning of this run and going to have something for this later part of the race here.
Yeah, and he's driving right there on the inside of the 25. Our pole sitter, Andrew Chapman, he's dropped back to P10 now. I feel like both of these drivers maybe trying something on this first run. They really need to make some adjustments, as it doesn't seem to kind of carry the speed they need. 36 laps into this run now. If they were saving tires to make moves at the end of the run, I mean, that should be happening now.
Yeah, it looked like they started to, but now they're still back into, 9th and 10th.
With the field spread out here, like, you kind of need to be really methodical with your passes. If you get stuck side by side, you're just going to lose contact with the cars in front of both of you. As we see Furtick comfortably move around the 10 car.
Yeah, Aaron Miller going backwards fairly quickly now. Like the 94 starting to make another pass up into second place, but Tyler Burden trying to take that away as well. Pete Walsh down pit lane.
Yeah, he kind of lost pace with the field, deciding that's the perfect time to go ahead and make that pit stop, get some fresh tires on that 74 Mustang.
And Tyler Burden used the apron there and was able to make the pass on Michael York. Looked like Michael York might not have the speed he had earlier in this run. But we'll see how Burden handles Bailey here. As Bailey's out to almost the half-second lead.
Yeah, he's not completely out of frame, but he's kind of has a nice little buffer there as the leader. As we're expecting pit stops to be starting this lap and the next couple laps.
Yeah, Colin Bollinger down pit lane. It looks like the 94 is going to be coming down as he made that move down to the inside.
Burden is gaining on Bailey. About half a tenth a lap.
Boughton, Chapman, Miller, Diaz all came in that lap. And they're still staying out. Dwayne Furtick came in.
Looks like both Burden and Bailey are coming to pit road this time by.
I'd imagine almost everybody should be coming this lap if they haven't yet, as Bradley Rivers stays out.
Yeah, this is going to be 41, 42 laps out on track. Rivers going to try to make it 43.
Yeah, so we got
Kane
Rivers.
Lee and Ludi also out there with him.
Yeah, Doug Denise, Kent Mueller, Cogswell, Christopher Roth, all still out running. Yeah, Rivers coming down. And we're left with 3.
Put this in your crew chief notebook. We're starting to see what the limit is. If we stay green, the pit strategy is pretty simple. You've got 2 more stops after this. But if we do catch a caution somewhere in here, looks like that number is going to be 43, 44 is the farthest you can go. As you see the 40 coming down pit road now. And that should complete the cycle.
Cogswell took a detour there, it looked like. Here comes a battle. Bollinger out front. He did pit on lap 39. Bailey and Boughton back there battling side by side for second.
And that's the advantage of pitting early. You get out. Like we said, there was a little over a second difference in the lap times. Bollinger gaining that track position. 3 laps. Older tires now than Bailey. But like we said, I think if you're going to split this race evenly on a 3-stop strategy, you're looking at somewhere around 36 laps that you need to go. But this first stage, everybody opting to kind of run long and see what their fuel tank could give them.
And Bailey didn't waste too much time, and he's back to the front after pitting on lap 42. So, and ran his fastest lap of the race, a 30.39.
Yeah, looks like the only driver out there running faster times than Bailey is Michael York, who was running second and third kind of right before that pit cycle, but he's back in 7th now. Looks like he's stuck behind Burden and Chapman as they are side by side. He's going to split them. That lap, Michael Carter He sets the fastest lap of the race, and immediately Bradley Rivers breaks that record. He runs the fastest lap of the race, a 30:28 now. That's a full half second faster than what Bailey is doing out in the lead.
Yeah, and that's after just a couple laps on those tires too. So see what Rivers can do. He is a previous winner here, so maybe he knows something about Chicagoland and knows his way to victory lane.
Dwayne Furtick did kind of regain some track position through that pit cycle. He's up in 4th now. We were a little worried about him earlier in the race.
Yeah, it looked like he just kind of was out there logging laps, saving tires, but he never was able to make that run that you would expect him to do because, I mean, we've seen it happen before where all of a sudden he's, 10th or 11th, and then here he comes back up through the field. It looks like Michael York got a little loose there, all over the back bumper of Colin Bollinger.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of amazed at how close this top 5 is after going through a green flag pit cycle where they all pitted multiple laps apart. A couple drivers gaining track position, but they're all right there together. They can all see Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey had a bigger lead too.
Yeah, I just feel like this is going to come down to that final run. As long anybody in the top 5 has a shot at winning this one, as long as they can stay in touch with Bailey. It's now Michael York trying to get back to 2nd place ahead of the 53.
And Andrew Chapman's gained a bunch of positions too. Like, he started on the pole and went, back to even like 12th or something before he made a couple spots. And then came down pit lane on lap 40, and here he is up in 3rd position.
Oh, hard contact as the 5 goes across the nose of the 94. That is not what you want to see this early in the race.
Michael York's been running on the edge of out of control. Because that car it has speed, but as they say, loose is fast, but sometimes it's a little too much there. And that 5 car was having a heck of a run, too.
I'm trying to go back and see what happened to him. He was battling with Andrew Chapman. And then I guess he had to check up. And kind of backed up into the 94 as he was trying to get back in line.
And we just almost saw another one as Tyler Burton and Dwayne Furtick kind of went toe-to-toe there a little bit. Almost 4 wide there with Michael York showing some more speed after settling that 5 machine. I want to take a look and see what happened to York, but these guys are all over each other right now.
They're putting on a show, that's for sure. As Chapman has worked his way back up, now within almost a 10th of Tristan Bailey.
Almost within touching distance now. while that might have settled down just a little bit, let's see what happened with York. And we'll come back live pretty quick. It's down on the bottom. Heads back up the track. Oh.
Yeah, I just don't think he realized how much he had to lift to stay off of Chapman on that low line, and then the 94 was there before he knew it. He hasn't lost too much speed, but I'd imagine he does have some optional repairs to take care of if we catch a caution and he has a chance to get that machine fixed up. Bollinger making an aggressive move to get back in line. You can tell how much these drivers do not want to get stuck down on the bottom with that outside lane train trying to go by them. As York hard in the wall again, back in traffic.
In a battle for the lead here as well. Can't quite get there though. Almost looks like Chapman's trying to time that slide job there. Wide back here.
Yeah, it looks like the 5 car is starting to pay the price for that wall contact and damage. He's drifted back to 10th.
I'm actually kind of surprised that 94 Van Bowden hasn't lost any real speed after taking a car off the nose of that machine, but he is battling tough up here in P3. Wayne Furtick trying to go to the low line and make it work, but hasn't been able to make up very many positions down there.
Great shot there, as you can see how many lines there are coming down the front stretch. Drivers down on the apron, drivers up by the wall. Everybody just trying to get a little bit of a draft, set up that turn entry. You kind of wait till the last second to guess what the guy in front of you is going to do so that you can do something a little bit different and keep clean air on the nose.
Yeah, like you said,
one of those. Oh, go ahead.
So like you said, it's a semi-drafting track, especially down the backstretch. But when you go to the corner, there are 4, 5, 6 different lines, it seems, as these guys fan out across the track.
Yeah, this is kind of the quintessential 1.5-mile style racing where you're drafting on the straightaways and then you're just trying to find a line with some clean air in the turn. And you're kind of driving out of your mirror almost as much as out of your windshield, because once you see the line that the guy behind you is committed to, you try to find a way to get into that lane and take that air away for turn exit so he can't get a move on you. Is now Bollinger, the latest driver to try his hand at Tristan Bailey. Dwayne Furtick not going to let him do it unopposed. You can see right away when Furtick gets side by side with Bollinger, Bailey just starts to pull away. He gains an extra 10th. Anytime you're side by side, you're losing speed from the side draft, especially in these next gen cars.
See Bollinger pull down. Furtick started to. Saw Bollinger go down, and he went right back up to the high line.
Yeah, like I said, you're waiting till the last minute to commit to your line because you don't want to do what the guy in front of you is doing. And that was a great shot there to see how everybody's trying to guess something a little bit different. Bollinger. Oh, almost clear of Bailey. And Furtick's going to tuck in behind the 9 with Rivers in tow.
Bollinger again, side by side. Not enough, though, on exit.
Yeah, these drivers are putting on a clinic for how to drive these cars on a track like this. As Bollinger comes up to take away Furtick's nose, he still can't clear the 9.
Those 9's battling back, hanging tough in that high line. Might have got a little too high there. We'll see if it's going to hurt him here on corner exit. Still side by side. Bailey with a massive run, and he's going to take back over the lead.
And like I said earlier, hey, we're only 70 laps in. We're not even to halfway, but all of this is practice. Because if it takes 10 laps to get around Tristan Bailey, you know you need to do it with 10 laps to go later on.
Well, I also think later on that slide job is going to be a little more, maybe a little bit of a bump, and push him up into the wall a little bit to get by.
Yeah, looks like Bollinger thought about it that time. He maybe could have forced the issue, but didn't quite get there. Not ready to risk the contact just yet. And he tries to get back in line, and Rivers is kind of saying, no, thank you. I am here.
Yeah, Furtick just split the difference, went down to the bottom, but doesn't have that run, so he's probably going to go back a position as well, as Bollinger lost a little bit of speed there as well. Bradley Rivers trying to figure out what line he wants to be in.
And all this fighting is letting Tyler Burden catch up to this pack. I mean, this is just awesome racing here on lap 71. So we're watching these top 5 drivers kind of churn back and forth, with Tristan Bailey continuing to lead out front. He's led 65 laps, Mike. Untouchable so far tonight, even when all these other drivers are right on his bumper.
Yeah, he's been tested. Like, they've been side by side for multiple laps, but he just finds a little bit of speed, and then the next thing you know, the driver who was testing him is going back through the field again. I mean, Dwayne Furtick back in 5th now.
Now, it just seems like if you want to try to get a pass done, especially for the lead, you better do it fast so that you don't overheat those tires and drift back.
We're about 10 laps before we see pit stops again.
Yeah, it could be sooner for some of these drivers. Again, there was kind of a 4 or 5 lap spectrum of when drivers were coming in. Bollinger already 34 laps on his tires here. And
now, he was one of the first drivers that came down pit lane. He came down on lap 39, so definitely he will probably be the first driver to come down, but the way he's driving right now, if he can hang on to the coattails here of Bailey, he might just hang around with him and see what happens later.
yeah, it'd be hard to pit when you're fighting for the lead like this. He's going to crowd him a little bit. Taking the middle lane instead of dropping all the way to the bottom. Doesn't really give him the slide job opportunity, but it keeps him right on Bailey's fender. As now Burden comes in and kind of gives an arrow draft to the 9.
It was probably the least fanned out corner we've had in multiple laps.
Yeah, the kind of these drivers all the way back through 7th of Kyle Diaz, they're all bunched up within reach of a driver in front of him. And then there's a 2-second gap back to another pack of cars. Starting with Doug Denise, Michael Carter, and Kane Lee.
And Michael York, Aaron Miller, Pete Walsh all on pit lane.
We've been caution free so far, but I don't know. It seems like every lap the action, especially up front in the top 5, gets a little more anxious. Starting to have that itch that the caution is coming.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. I mean, if it's not this, it's going to be, somebody trying to make a move on cold tires after making these pit stops here.
Yeah, we didn't have any drivers getting speeding penalties or any black flags on the last pit cycle. We'll see if they can keep that streak going here, as we have begun the second group of green flag pit stops here tonight.
Lee coming down again. Bradley Rivers, Doug Denise are the drivers that stayed out the longest, pitted on lap 43 and 44 respectively. And just as I say that, Rivers comes in right behind Bollinger.
Yeah, with 70 laps to go, you can absolutely do this on one more stop. And with both of those stints around that stop being shorter than what we've been running already.
Verdict coming in. I would think you'd probably want to just split it in half because the fall off is just crazy. I mean, you're over a second off your best lap time already.
Yeah, I mean, after seeing what Bollinger was able to do on that first cycle, I would have been coming in as soon as the pit window opened, which would have been, almost 10 laps ago.
And I imagine Doug's still going to stay out and run long.
It looks like Michael Carter picked up a black flag on his pit entry. That's going to cost him. I assume it was speeding.
Could have been. As Denise comes in, Kip Mueller going to stay out for another lap.
Still 4 drivers who haven't pitted. Make that 2. Jonathan Cogswell and Christopher Roth.
Roth came down. Coxwell still out there rolling.
And again, it looks like Bollinger is going to cycle to the lead. Bailey actually pretty far down the list. I wonder if he had a rough pit entry or exit there.
Doesn't look like it. Looks like his pit lane time's 41 seconds or thereabouts. So he did pit on lap 83.
Yeah, it might have just been the undercut paying off again for Bollinger, and it actually looks like Michael York might be ahead of him now that they're cycling through.
Now Michael York is gonna take over the lead as soon as he gets past Cogswell, but he did pit on lap 76, so I imagine Bollinger and Furtick probably won't have too hard of a time getting by in a few laps.
Yeah, Michael York pitted 7 laps before Tristan Bailey. And as we mentioned, it was almost a second a lap slower on lap time, so that shows you what that gets you. Michael York now 2.5 seconds ahead of Bailey. Only a half second ahead of P2 Colin Bollinger. Bradley Rivers looking to his inside. So this will be the kind of the game we're playing here as drivers try the short pit, the undercut, depending on if you're a NASCAR or Formula One terminology kind of guy. But it all means the same. It means track position early, and then you kind of bide your time as those later long pit drivers pick up speed here after the pit cycle.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's going to take too long as Bradley Rivers is running a 30.37 to Michael York's 30.70. So, I mean, you're going to pay one way or the other, I guess.
Nothing's free. You can buy speed or you can buy track position. And we haven't had a caution all night, and that's kind of the gamble you're hoping for. If you take that track position early, you hope a caution comes out before the speed catches up with you.
Well, and with that being said, and everybody kind of single filed out, let's step aside for our probably one and only commercial break as the action kind of settled down a little bit. We'll be back after this. You won't miss anything as we go side by side here in the Windy City 225 for ECR. All right, welcome back, everybody. Didn't miss anything while we were away. Lots of side-by-side action here, but Bradley Rivers still leading the race. Does have, looks like, 74 of Pete Walsh in front of him, and a rearview mirror full of Dwayne Furtick.
Yeah, Tristan Bailey lost the track position in that green flag cycle, but he has the speed. He is right here, just out of frame behind Furtick, chasing Rivers. We now have 50 laps to go here in the Windy City, 225.
And Michael York making his pit stop after coming down early. And here we go. The pressure is about to get turned up here on Bradley Rivers as Dwayne Furtick and Tristan Bailey try and get by Furtick to the bottom. And he's going to pull up and slide right in front of Rivers.
I think he can see Bailey is coming, and he wants to get to the lead first. I think if you're in front with full clean air, you've got a chance of defending against a faster car like Bailey, but he's not quite clear of Rivers. There he goes with a push from Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey wanted them out of the way so he could fight for the lead here. He's going to go to the high side, get by Rivers, wind up in second. And now he has his eyes and sights set on Dwayne Furtick. John Osborne checking in the YouTube chat, says he still is without power down there in Georgia. So hopefully they get that fixed for you.
Yeah, Osborne forced to take the provisional tonight. He's third in points. Still looking for his first win on the season. Definitely a missed opportunity because of that power outage, but we know he'll be fighting hard the rest of the regular season to build some momentum for the playoffs, I'm sure. As Bailey is looking inside of Furtick. Not going to clear him just yet as Furtick fights back hard on the outside. Like I said, I think if you get clean air and you stick to that high line, you can defend against these other cars. We saw Bailey do it most of the first half of the race. Furtick taking a page out of his playbook.
Yeah, Bailey trying everything he can. He knows if he gets back to the lead, he has a strong enough car to maintain it. But Furtick still battling back on that high side, not letting him go at all. Bollinger sitting back in third, trying to figure out which direction he wants to go, if he wants to cut down to the bottom and try and make a pass, or if he's going to stay up here with Furtick and make life miserable for Bailey.
Yeah, this is just awesome side-by-side racing as they're scraping the wall door to door. Remember, we saw Bollinger do this earlier in the race. He was in that position that Bailey's in, trying to make a pass on the inside, and after about 10 laps, his tires were gone, and he drifted back. This time, though, he lets those two fight it out, and he makes it 3 wide down on the apron as Bailey clears Furtick, and Bollinger is now looking to make the slide job down low. He is there if he'll just move up and take it. And he's going to. Oh, but Bailey comes right back.
Bailey bounced off the wall, too. I thought Bollinger had him clear, just not quite. Bailey and Furtick got into it just enough to allow Bollinger to make that left-hand turn and make it 3 wide and try and get the lead. But Bailey just has that 9 Chevy on rails tonight again.
Yeah, just incredible racing up here at the front. And as we've kind of been watching all night, a battle for first brings Tyler Burden back into the picture. Adam Boughton, Bradley Rivers, everybody is there just kind of waiting for their moment in this merry-go-round of the top 5 tonight.
Yeah, Furtick went from the bottom to the top, trying to get in front of Burden, and he will do just that. Burden giving him a little bump to get moving here.
Bollinger lost a lot of speed in that corner. Bailey trying to complete the pass, get back out front. Single file. Furtick now gonna maybe try to cross them both over.
And Burden trying to stick his nose in there as well. And to give Furtick less options. They're still side by side, beating and banging.
And Furtick is looking low.
Burden
Oh, his Burden's in the wall. Oh, and you can just see that the Bollinger doesn't have the speed to get up there and kind of stick with Bailey, but if he can stay on his fender, he gets a little side draft, but this time Bailey breaks free, pulls out ahead. As now Burden is on the outside of Bollinger, but Bollinger just gets a great run off that corner.
Bouncing off the wall again goes Burden. Sticking his nose to a little bit to the inside. Looks like we got Kent Mueller, Aaron Miller, and Kane Lee all on pit lane.
Yeah, the pit window is open. Anybody that pits from here on out can make it to the end. Some of these drivers a little further back in the pack trying to make that short pit work for them now. As Bailey has retaken the lead. He's now led 81 laps tonight.
Yeah, Bailey's just been strong all night. Here comes Kyle Diaz. Haven't talked about him too much. He's got that 26 Ford on the bottom. Made up a couple spots there.
Yeah, I'm a little confused what happened to Michael York. We saw him kind of pit unexpectedly, and he has parked it for the night. Wasn't that long ago he was battling for the lead. Hate to see that for York.
Yeah, he had a fast car. He just was a little bit, I'll say a little bit loose on the setup there, so he was chasing it all night, but he was battling up inside the top 5.
Yeah, you know, another driver that's missing from this lineup tonight is Gary Nash. Seen in the Discord, he's saying that that storm didn't take out his power, but lightning took out his modem. He was hoping they'd postpone the race till next week, but we are racing here as Tristan Bailey continues to lead with Tyler Burden giving everything he's got. Now looking to the outside.
Tyler Burden wants to try that outside. I think anybody who's trying to pass Tristan Bailey wants to get on that high side, because Bailey has just been way too strong up there right next to that wall.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised this is the first time we're seeing someone try the high side, as we've seen the low side pass kind of fail again and again. And right there you can see how much Bailey has to lift out of the throttle.
I mean, I definitely think if I was sitting behind these drivers, I don't know when I would try and think about coming to pit lane, because these guys are racing hard here, and you know a yellow's going to come out with one little mistake.
Yeah, but Burden to the lead. Bollinger up to second. Bailey now all the way back to fourth. If I'm Bailey, I think I'm coming to pit road. I know I have the speed. I know these guys are using up everything they have to get around me. This could be the perfect time to kind of flip the strategy on them. you're going to have to pit in the next 5 laps either way. You're right. Kyle Diaz up 10 spots from where he started in this race, 13th, to now crack into the top 3 if he can get around Bailey.
He's just been kind of riding around here at the tail end of this lead group. You know, seen him there, just not really moving anywhere, but now all of a sudden it's closer to the end of the race, and here he is battling for that top 5 spot.
Yeah, we're 121 laps into this thing, and these top 4 or 5, 6 drivers are all within a half second of each other. It just takes one good lap. It's a little bit of momentum to get from 5th to the lead here. Especially when the leaders are side by side battling like this.
Yeah, when they're battling, it just brings everybody who's within a couple seconds right back to them. Like Bradley Rivers kind of tailed off a little bit. We'll see if he's going to come to pit lane in the next couple laps. I imagine we'll see him pretty quickly here, but never know.
Yeah, especially when drivers are so close to your rear bumper. I'm a little nervous to pit here if they're not coming with me, because you know they don't want to lift. Right there, you see Kyle Diaz has to make some evasive action. And the radio is lighting up as Diaz complaining he didn't know Bollinger was pitting, but I'm pretty sure Bollinger announced it about a half lap ago. The call out to pit road, always kind of a gray area in the rule book where, you know, letting drivers behind you know you're coming to pit road is the safer option. But in an instance like this, where when you're pitting is the strategy that can win you or lose you the race, you don't always want to give it away. As Bailey comes back to 2nd position.
I think everybody's going to come down now.
And this is the money stop. You gotta hope your pit crew ate their Wheaties and drank their Gatorade today. Now is when it matters. You know, I think all race we've just seen everybody take 4 tires every chance they get. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody tried 2 tires here. With just 26 laps to go, I think that's a viable option.
Well, 12 seconds for Burden. 11 and a half.
I wonder if those 11 and 12s, I think those are 2 tire stops with then a little bit more fuel than the time it takes to get 2 tires. Because traditionally we've seen 14 and 15 second stops for a 4 tire strategy.
Yeah, Andrew Chapman spent 14.62. Kent Mueller 15. So yeah, I'd assume that it's going to be a 2 tire stop.
And now Kane Lee, who came down pit road on lap 111 right when the fuel window opened. That's the biggest undercut you can make. He's in the lead. Or he will be when Christopher Roth comes down pit road momentarily.
So Roth has to come down pretty quickly here. Roth came down on lap 85, so.
And Kane Lee has a 3.5 second gap back to Colin Bollinger, who is the furthest ahead of drivers who have pitted, other than Kane, who came down 10 laps earlier. I don't think his lap times are going to work out for him to win this thing as it stands, but right now he's in the lead, so
I mean,
And
it's going to be a net positive day for him anyway. Oof. Tyler Burton, a 30.19 fastest lap of the race that time by.
yeah, as the sun has gone down, this track has cooled off and the speeds have just consistently picked up.
72-degree track temp. Furtick using all the track he can, slid up right in front of Tyler Burton. Tyler Burton, I don't think necessarily appreciated that, as he has put his foot down and got by Wayne Furtick there.
Yeah, so we do have a little bit of a strategy differential looking back through the field. Kane Lee, Bollinger, Diaz, Boughton, Burden, all on that 2-tire stop, plus a little bit more fuel after those 2 tires are on. And then starting with Dwayne Furtick, including Andrew Chapman, Kent Mueller, and Tristan Bailey, those guys all took 4 tires. So they've got a gap between them and those 2-tire guys, but you'd think they'd have a little more speed to go catch them. But right now, Kane Lee running just about the fastest lap in the field. It looks like maybe Tyler Burden is a 10th faster. Or I'm sorry, now the lap times are updating as I'm saying it. Adam Boughton, now one of the faster cars up in that lead group. Tristan Bailey kind of matching his speed, but he's back in 9th now. 7 seconds out of the lead.
Yeah, I think if you were back towards the back, you probably should have came down like Kane Lee did, you know, somewhere around 118 or so, but we'll see.
Yeah, so we've got multiple things playing out here with 19 to go. We've got Kane Lee out front on 2 tires and pitting kind of 10 or 11 laps earlier than everybody else. Colin Bollinger in 2nd, also on 2 tires, but 10 laps fresher. He's about a second and change back. And Kyle Diaz on slightly even fresher tires than Bollinger, also 2 tires on that stop. He had one of the fastest pit stops, so he might have been really aggressive with the amount of fuel he put in, taking a bit of a gamble, a second and a half less than all the other drivers. And then it's all the way back to Tristan Bailey, the first driver on, or sorry, it's actually Dwayne Furtick is the first driver on 4 tires. And he is 3.5 seconds out of the lead, but gaining with that 4-tire speed. I mean, however this happens, I think all of these drivers are going to converge on one another with about 5 to go.
I would say so. Colin Bollinger already took the lead from Kane Lee. Kane Lee's running about a little over half a second slower than the drivers around him.
Yeah, that lap there especially not a great one for the 38, as he loses the lead and a lot of lap time speed. I think he would love to see a caution here, assuming everybody would want to pit for some fresh tires and he could keep that track position for a run to the finish. Just behind him is Kyle Diaz and Adam Boughton battling for 3rd, soon to be 2nd, as they're going to... Oh, I thought they were going to split Lee, but he runs up high to block.
I'll say it looked like that's what was going to happen, but Kane Lee had other ideas there.
They're 3 wide. Boughton and Diaz just over a second behind Colin Bollinger. Boughton in that Arnold Palmer 9-4. And Furtick is now in the frame with those 4 fresh tires. Now only 2 seconds and change out of the lead is Furtick. Burden a second and a half. And then back in 7th is Tristan Bailey. He's just under 4 seconds out of the lead. Bailey just taking a conservative pit strategy here. He waited long to pit. He took 4 tires. That's put him behind the ball here in this final stint. He's going to have to turn on the afterburners to catch Colin Bollinger and all these other drivers who are gaining. Diaz gaining a 10th that last lap on the 53 in the lead. That's gonna, if he keeps up that pace, he is gonna catch Bollinger with 2 to go. Tyler Burden 2/10 faster than the leader.
It looks like Tyler Burden's almost the fastest car on track. Just has to get around a couple drivers now.
Yeah, the strategy here is really going to matter. Like, he can tuck in behind Boughton and try to just let all 3 of them catch the leader, or he can try to get around the 94 now so he doesn't have to pass him later. Diaz now just 8/10 behind the 53. And if you like last lap strategy races, this is the one for you. Multiple pit strategies all playing out at the same time. We mentioned Diaz took a little bit less fuel than everybody else, so he's got his fingers crossed that he can make it. Bollinger short pitting compared to most of these other drivers in the top 5. That got him the track position he needed, taking 2 tires. Dwayne Furtick, the first one on 4, but seems like Burden is the driver with the speed. He's only on 2 tire stop, we believe, but he is following Diaz and Boughton to the front as they're now 6/10 out of the lead.
Down to almost half a second now.
We know we have some Furtick fans in the YouTube chat. Everybody watching, tell us who you're pulling for here with 7 to go.
The way this is going, it is going to get really tight with little less than 5 to go.
Yeah, like I said, this is a perfect storm. Emily Travis says, "Go, Burden." He's in 4th, less than a second out of the lead now.
I think any one of the top 5 have a chance to win, as they're all within, a second of each other.
I think they're only going to catch each other faster as Diaz starts to pick up a draft behind Bollinger. And it's happening now. He's 2/10 back, coming with a run. That's helped him pull away from the 94 and the 06. 26 vet to track. Ford Mustang, he is on the move. Charging to the front, 4 laps to go.
Yeah, Bollinger doing exactly what you said, trying to drive in that mirror, trying to throw all the dirty air he can on the nose of that 26. But that doesn't seem to matter right now as Kyle Diaz is closing in a hurry, down to less than 0.2 of a second now. Going to be 3 to go when they hit the line.
And we've kind of seen the playbook here from Tristan Bailey. You want to take that high line, make the driver behind you go low. But Bollinger actually kind of taking the low line, keeping that dirty air on the 26. I don't know, Mike, if I'm the 53, I want to be in that high line and make him do it on the bottom.
Yeah, but we've seen how tough Bollinger has been on that bottom line. Maybe he knows something. Maybe he just doesn't want to get doored.
And there's the block. Diaz all the way down to the grass. 2 to go. Side by side. Bollinger not giving him any room. And as these two get side by side, that should bring the 94 into this battle as well.
94, the 06, and the 51 all closing in here. Side by side they go, coming to the start-finish line. White flag is going to be out this time. Kyle Diaz, Colin Bollinger, Adam Boughton, and almost 3 wide as they hit the line.
There he is, the 94, using that high line. They're going to come together here. Contact all the way across. And Tyler Burton is there too. I think Boughton's got the edge as they come out of turn 4. It's a drag race. Contact. Oh my gosh. Colin Bollinger takes it by 1/100th of a second over Kyle Diaz. That is incredible.
Wow.
That is incredible. The top 3 separated by 2/100ths of a second. Bollinger, Diaz, Boughton. I cannot wait to talk to these 3 drivers. Yeah, Bollinger just would not be denied. Man, Boughton doing everything he could. If that start-finish line was, about 50 feet further, I think the 94 had it.
Begin.
Tyler Burton can only watch from behind this 3-wide battle for the win. And then way back, about a football field behind this crew, is Tristan Bailey.
That is
Maybe
crazy,
even
though. Look at this. Like, not even half a car length, the top 3.
I mean, this reminds me of, doing a foot race with my brother as a kid. You reach out and kind of pull him back with your arm right at the finish line. Incredible. I mean, we drove 225 miles, 150 laps just to have 3 cars within 2/100ths of a second there at the finish line. Just incredible.
Colin Bollinger picking up another win. Makes it his, looks like 4th win on the season. Well, let's see if we can get our 3rd place finisher up here in the booth for you. There you go, Shane.
Adam, you got Shane and Mike in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Holy cow. How about that finish? We just ran 225 miles to have 3 drivers separated by just 2/100ths of a second. You were my pre-race pick. I felt like you just had the hot hand tonight. Your luck was due. But in the end, you got 3rd place. So close. Using that high line. try and get there at the end. Tell us about your night.
A little bit up and down at the start. We fired off pretty good there in the beginning of the run. Just couldn't get around Trish in there early on. Then we started fading a little bit. Then once it started transitioning, the car fell off a little bit towards the middle. But then after that last run, took 2 tires on the end, and it really woke it up. And I was and trying to run down Colin there. I tried to get around Kyle there, but couldn't fully complete the pass there. So then we were able to at least run him down. And there at the end, I was kind of hoping they'd kind of forget me, sort of like a Joey Logano, Danny Hamlin Auto Club moment there, and me be Kyle Busch going around the outside. But just they didn't make quite enough contact I needed. But we're able to bring it home a solid P3 tonight.
Yeah, congratulations on the podium finish. Like I said, you were my pre-race pick. I was pulling for you there on the outside on that final lap. When they both went low, I thought you would have it, but they just had so much speed coming off of turn 4 down low. And but yeah, congratulations again. And as always, great racing here with ECR on Saturday night. And who else you got to thank for tonight's race?
Well, shout out to you guys for doing the awesome broadcast. Shout out to everybody that raced tonight. Caution free. Hell of a way to run caution free there, only for it to come down to the last corner. Shout out to my RMS teammates. A couple of them tried running some pit strategy or fuel mileage strategy. It didn't really work out too well. But overall, so solid day, and hopefully we can carry some momentum into Richmond next week. That's going to be a ginormous question mark with the pending update coming next week. So it should be interesting.
Absolutely. Richmond, my home track, so I'm excited to see how you can do there. And congratulations again, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
You can get second place up here in the booth. Hey, Kyle, Mike up in the booth, man. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Well, not too bad. That was a heck of a race. Didn't really talk about you much until the last little stint there, but you found something, and you got that 26 within one little incident of winning the race here.
Yeah. Overall, good race tonight. Didn't have any practice. Got back late. So proud to bring it back home second place, but I don't really appreciate the way I was drove. I got pinched down a couple times there, then ultimately coming to the line, I felt like I got doored, but it is what it is. Still a solid day. And shout out to Adam too for that good finish right there. And hopefully we can just get ourselves into the playoffs here coming up with getting a win, because that's what I'm going to need.
Yeah, definitely. As we head over to Richmond, how do you feel about short track racing next week?
I'm not the best at short track racing, so I'm going to have to put in some laps there, but Richmond's a good track, so hopefully we can have a good run there and keep up the momentum moving on to the upcoming weeks.
Definitely, man. Well, anybody want to thank for your P2 finish tonight?
Yeah, my team at Gone Wrong Racing, Chris Roth, Robert Roth, and Jonathan, of course. Shout out to those guys. And everybody else at my Racing for Freedom team that watches me and races with me. And shout out to my parents and you guys who put on the broadcast.
Definitely, man. Well, congrats again, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you, guys.
All right, I'll let you talk to the race winner.
Colin, you got Shane and Mike in the booth. You got a copy.
Yes, sir.
How about that? Just 200ths separating the top three, 100th between first and second. We saw the field chasing Tristan Bailey all night long. You used some pit strategy to get out front there right at the end when it mattered. Tell us how you got it done.
It was just, I mean, we were sitting there around fourth or fifth all night. I mean, you try to make a pass up for the lead, and I mean, everybody was so tight together. It was like a dogfight all night long. So I knew going into that last pit stop, I'm like, well, I can either take 4 and we can just all slug it out, or like I could take 2 and try to maybe hold the lead until the end, which ended up happening. I mean, some people are gonna be mad because I doored the 26 down a little bit, but I think 2 weeks ago at Charlotte I got wrecked for the win pretty much, so I wasn't gonna let it slip away at the line. So they can be mad, but I'm doing the donuts tonight, so maybe next week.
Yeah, I mean, if you had told me pre-race that we were going to go caution-free and have the top 5 be separated by less than half a second, I would have told you were crazy. But that's exactly what happened tonight, as you mentioned, a dogfight up front all night long. On that final stop, you're coming down to take your tires and fuel. I think you went with 2 tires. What made you kind of know that was the right answer?
I mean, just from prior races here and most of the mile and a half, especially when it's at the nighttime, you can kind of get away with getting 2. And I just wanted to get away from being with those guys, which I think it ended up. Before everybody cycled out, I was to like a 2.5 second lead, and it was just enough to only let 2 guys get close to me. So I mean, and obviously we got the win, so it worked. But yeah, I just didn't really feel like racing another 35 laps, absolutely pounding it out with those guys, because yeah, we did run caution free, but you never know. Mistakes happen. Maybe I'm in the fence somewhere, or we're all wrecked. You never know. So just trying to avoid that, and we made the right call.
Yeah, well, congratulations again on the win. It was phenomenal to watch you guys race all night. Phenomenal to watch that last lap battle. We're heading to Richmond next week. How are you on the short track, and who else you got to thank for tonight's race?
The short track, I'm excited. I mean, the last short track we at least ran at, it was Bristol. So I mean, we kind of pulled a win out there when we probably should have finished P2. But Richmond, I enjoyed pretty good there, and I don't know. It should be a good race. But no, I just gotta thank all the guys that I raced with. I had my spotter there tonight, and Daniel Plant Smith. He makes all the schemes I race, so always looking good. You look good, you race good, right? But well, that's really about it.
Well, congratulations again, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yep, thank you guys.
Well, that will do it for the interviews. Let's go ahead and bring up the race results. Paul Bollinger, Kyle Diaz, and Adam Boughton separated by less than half a car length there at the end of 225 miles. Tyler Burton battled back to get P4. Dwayne Furtick, Doug Denise, Tristan Bailey, Bradley Rivers, Kane Lee, and Anthony Ludy round out that top 10. Jonathan Cogswell, Andrew Chapman, Kent Mueller, Aaron Miller, Christopher Roth, Pete Walsh, Michael Carter, and Michael York round out the field of 18 drivers that took part tonight. But we will put Chicagoland in the rearview mirror, and we'll have to see what tempers show up next week at the short track.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the only person who really didn't get their due tonight was Rapid Fired Pizza, the sponsor of our yellow flags. When we went caution free, I want to give a shout out to Rapid Fired Pizza, one of the primary sponsors of the league. It's zero compromise pizza with locations from Texas to South Carolina and up to Ohio. Enjoy a taste of Italy this summer with their new chicken caprese pizza, and enjoy some Rapid Fire Pizza if you have a chance. But yeah, Mike, just a tremendous race. Everything you could ask for to have a last lap battle like that as pit strategies converge together. Just incredible.
Yeah, it definitely was. We'll see if Rapid Fire gets a few more of those yellows next week as we are headed to the short track. But heck of a race, heck of a time. Nobody really had to worry about the Eliminator Challenge as we had Ryan McCall have his provisional, so he will be eliminated this week. We'll see what happens next week when we get more action on that short track. But with that being said, we're going to get out of here tonight. From all the drivers of the ECR NextGen League and all of us here at Sim Racing Media, I want to wish you guys a good night. We'll see you next week at Richmond.